Kathy Robinson III to be Rear Admiral, lower half.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President.
The senator from Alabama?
Object.
Objection is heard.
229, Captain David E. Ludwa to be Rear Admiral, lower half.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President.
The senator from Alabama?
Object.
The objection is heard.
Major General John B. Richardson IV to be Lieutenant General.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President.
The senator from Alabama?
Object.
The objection is heard.
Brigadier General Mary F. Kruger and Brigadier General Anthony L. McQueen.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President.
The senator from Alabama?
Object.
Objection is heard.
Can you believe Senator Tommy Tuberville? Like, what's with him? Does he think he's cool? That was Democratic Senator John Fetterman you saw there holding back laughter while it was really despair at that point last week while presiding over Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville's repeated objections to promotions of military appointees. Senator Tuberville has waged an unprecedented campaign in an attempt, a lone attempt, to change the Pentagon's abortion policy, which gives travel expenses and time off to members who need abortion services and health care, like if they have pregnancies in trouble and they need to actually get a DNC or something. Kind of makes you not want to join the military if you're a woman. Wonder what he's really up to there. Tuberville's latest objections came after last week's election, where supporters of abortion rights saw significant wins, including in conservative Ohio and Kentucky. Here to discuss this and much more, longtime aide to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin. She's an MSNBC contributor and vice chair of the Forbes and Know Your Value 3050 Summit. Also with us is the editor of Forbes Women, Maggie McGrath. Good to have you both with us. Huma, what do you make of Senator Tuberville digging in his heels over these are promotions that people need to move? There are hundreds of people waiting in the wings here, even after last week's elections, where voters signaled their support for abortion rights, which is women's health care, by the way.
You know, Mika, I think what he has determined is that this is good politics for him and it helps him with his base, and I think he is right. He represents a deep red state. There's lots of anti-abortion activists there. And frankly, I think even being a foil to President Biden's agenda just makes him more popular with the MAGA base going into a 2024 election. And when you think about the success that we had at the ballot box in 2022, even though these 6 ballot initiatives related to abortion were successful, he's not going to pay a personal electoral price. So he has nothing to lose aside from elevating his own, space as a Republican right-wing leader. Think about the candidates who won last year, Mike DeWine and DeSantis and Kim Reynolds in Iowa and Brian Kemp in Georgia. Them being anti-abortion candidates did not affect them electorally. And I think he's, making this theater because it helps him with his base. And I think it's something we have to watch very carefully because he's going to continue to do it.
He also has military bases in his state, so I'm not sure what he thinks he's doing to our military, but a lot of major figures in our defense foreign policy believe he is really impacting our military in a negative way, making it weaker. Maggie, meanwhile, there's reports of women organizing to help protect reproductive freedom and women's health care. There are also dire stories of women who are scared to get pregnant or wondering where they should live to have safe pregnancies. What are you seeing on the organizing front?
We are seeing a continuation of efforts that began obviously before last week and even well before the Dobbs decision on both the public and the private spheres. On the public policy front, I spoke with folks at Planned Parenthood who said last week's results are wind in the sails of future ballot initiatives that could enshrine abortion access in state constitutions. There are as many as 10 states that could be voting on these ballot measures next year. And while some of these proposals are coming from state legislatures, there are other cases like in Florida and Arizona where advocates still need signatures on petitions to get this issue on the ballot. And so what I've I've been hearing from sources is that the energy from last week is carrying through in terms of attention, signatures, and donation dollars for these initiatives. On the corporate and entrepreneurial front, which is where Forbes spends most of its time, I talked to the women organizers of VCs for Repro and Don't Ban Equality. These are two coalitions that are galvanizing the support of the business community because they understand that employees, by a 2-to-1 margin, want to work in states where abortion is legal and accessible. So they're planning informational campaigns, educational campaigns in entrepreneurial hubs in 2024 to further galvanize the support of the business community.
So we're seeing reverberations of the overturning of Roe in the business world and also around the world. Huma, the political fallout from the overturning of Roe, you see abortion laws now changing in places like France and Poland. What's happening, and is there a lesson for lawmakers here in the U.S.?
Well, I think what's happening in France is a direct result of the overturning of Roe in the United States last year. The fact that President Macron is introducing this special legislation, putting it to a vote in Versailles, that would, if it's successful, enshrine abortion as a constitutional right in France. It'll be the first country in the world to do that. And we're living at a time where, according to the Center for Reproductive Rights, 60% of the billion women who are of reproductive age live in places where abortion is mostly legal. The tide is turning a certain direction. And when you look at the opposite, and Poland has been in that category, there are 4 countries in the last decade that have pushed back abortion rights. Poland is one, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and the United States is the final. It's a real lesson that the world is moving in a different direction from where we appear to be in the United States right now.
And of course, we've heard a lot about Vice President Kamala Harris really having a great voice on this issue. You've been in touch with the Vice President's office on this, Maggie. What did Team Kamala Harris say?
Yes, word from the White House is that the vice president plans to continue her leadership on this issue. But of course, it is not a short-term issue. As anyone who has been following this issue knows, and as my sources tell me, it took years to undo Roe. It could take years to bring abortion rights back.
Huma Abedin, Maggie McGrath, thank you both. Let's stay on this issue and many others. I appreciate it.